wait and see if the gap's going to come down further between second and third this time around, between Tollbar Racing and Old Hat. Let's see if they're heading for the finish line at the moment. Now 483, the Crossacre car comes into the pits. That's the Watt family. Patrick Watts continues to enjoy his healthy lead up front. Waiting for our second place battle to appear. 333 and 321. There's the 418 Rehab Racing car. They've had their share of problems through this event, so took some contact early on. 4 wide going down the Hanger Straight meanwhile. There's the treble 3 car of Tollbar Racing going through, and there is the Old Hat car. So what's the gap going to be this time through for second and third? It's actually increased by a couple of seconds on that lap, 6.45 seconds now. Very busy pack indeed going down towards Club Corner for the complex of the wing. All managed to file through there okay. Very slippery down that end of the circuit. Might look at perhaps more so than it is up here at Woodcote. "14 hours gone now of this Distrigo Parts Distribution C1 24 Hours of Silverstone." Somebody diving up the inside there into Brooklands. Was that the leading car? It was a plain white machine. It's either that or the 373 car. They're the two all over white cars in this race. Patrick Watts just gobbling up some back markers there possibly. Yes, that was the leading car. Goes through to complete his 225th lap. That time of 3 minutes 16, so some 11 seconds off the personal best of that car. Seems C'est La Vie still have the fastest lap of the race from early on in the drier conditions. Car number 390 we're seeing on our pictures, that's the ASR car being chased by the 325. It's not for position though. Looking for any battles for position at the moment. Ali Topley in the Prep Tech number 469 battling with the number 351, which is one of the GMP Development's Stand Up to Cancer cars. David Clark currently driving that one. They're fighting for 18th place, less than a second apart. Other than that, the battle's fairly well spaced out now, except for the second place fight, and that's opening up slightly. Now at least getting some running in at the moment without any interruption for the time being. Close fight going down into Stowe Corner. Who's that in the middle of there? It's the 351 we've just mentioned. He's got the Rust-eze car, number 344, on his tail. Into the pits comes number 490. That's the Voir Un car. Voir Un, don't get it. C1. Very simple. And we haven't seen too much of them in this race, just been keeping their noses clean by and large. Now, the gap for second place has definitely opened up now. Well, the lead gap's up to 2 minutes 2 seconds. And the second and third place gap is 6.9 seconds now. So things fairly safe at the moment until the next round of stops. All the leading runners have made 5 or 6 stops, except for Mac Attack, who've had 8. They had those early problems, of course. Rehab Racing, running trouble-free at the moment. The team you have to feel for here are the Atomic Motorsport cars. Atomic Racing 363 and 364, both off track in the pits. And they've got some quick drivers in their squad as well. Likes of Lee Baverstock of hatchback racing fame, William Moore, Austin Greenway, John Cutmore. Raced for Spire sports cars in the past. Matt Nicol-Jones, of course, as well, across the spectrum of their team. There goes Citroen Racing. How are they doing? 5th place behind the Eastgate car. C'est la vie now have Paul Dickinson on board, the man who started this race from pole position, down in 58th place. Could be a battle developing for 31st between Steady 23 and Assetto Motorsport. They're separated by just 3.2 seconds. Assetto's last lap was 1.5 seconds quicker. A couple of laps we could see them running together for position. Over 2 minutes in it now for the lead. The 488 roll centre car of Martin Short, just putting a lap on somebody. Number 423 car, I think. Yes, the checkered past car.
You were saying about Atomic Racing being in the pits. I can't see them in their garage. I'm not actually sure where they are. I've had a look around the back of the garage as well. There aren't any cars around there.
I think they may have called it a day and taken the cars back to the transporter or something, Duncan, because they've been out now for about 4 hours, and so if they're not still working on them, then chances are they've decided to call it a day or a short day rather than a full day.
That's a great shame. The two brightly coloured yellow and blue machines. Certainly two of the best looking cars in the field. Sadly out of luck in this one. Certainly Mac Attack Racing one to watch at the moment.
Yes, I mean, just to, I haven't seen as many of the Citroen C1 races as you two guys have, but I've been surprised at the level of, I sort of mentioned it to be partly in joking to you when you first arrived, what I would call mechanical unsympathy, because they really have driven the wheels off these cars, and they're continuing to do so, just pushing them as hard as they will go. It's not being treated at all as what I would call a traditional endurance race, where you're kind of pacing yourself at a certain lap time to try and get to the checkered flag at all costs. You know, it's far more, let's just go out and have a fun time for a few hours and then see what the car makes of it all.
I wonder whether it's do they have an unlimited amount of parts? Well, they don't have unlimited, but they can change as many parts as they want, as many times as they want.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, so you can, but of course, every time you bring the car into the pits, you're losing time. So I think the priority, and you get it from, I mean, the interviews that you've done, Duncan, have all been about how much fun these cars are to drive, and it's almost as if you have to drive them at the absolute max in order to just get the maximum fun out of the whole thing.
Well, you've got to basically, like we were saying at the start of the race so many hours ago, you've got to keep your foot on to keep the momentum, and that means well, I suppose for the drivers that is maximum attack, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But as I say, I think it's nice to know that so many of these people who are participating in the race are doing so for fun, and a lot of the politics, the egos, the business, the commercial aspects that you get in other parts of racing just don't happen in Citroen C1 Club because that's not what it's about, and I mean that's probably why this has been the largest grid of cars that we've ever had in the UK. There's 99 times, what is it, 3 or something, 400 drivers we've had signing on for this race, and they've all got to go, and they've all got to go out and have a good little bash around the circuit. Somebody else having a bit of fun in the Luffield loop there, Dave Goddard. I didn't quite catch who it was there.
It was number 392, had a spin there. That's Quattro Formaggio. And they've been able to rejoin 6 drivers in that car. And pick up who's on board that machine at the moment, who had that spin. Number 392, where's he go? Alistair May is the driver on board that car at the moment. The car heading for the pits, that's the number 483. They've got a stop-go penalty, but we do not know why. The team Crossacre car will be pulling into the penalty box at the near end of the pit lane. Patrick Watts, his stint will continue for some time yet. Out in front in the Circuit Pro car, the probably most plain liveried car on the circuit. Looks like a standard road car, the plain white machine. Heading through Luffield now, I think. Citroen Racing battle their way around Luffield. They've had a consistent run up there in the top 5. Chris Nyland currently driving for them.
Yes, that certainly has been a good run for 376, and you're saying that Patrick Watts still has a way to go. Chris Nyland has even further to go. He's probably got a good hour and 20 minutes to go in the 376 car, which could see him moving up certainly into the sharp end of things, into a top 3 position, if not higher than that. Before we get too much further. Patrick Watts, I reckon, can go until around about the 8:30 this morning, so about another 45 minutes or so. Here's some more news from Duncan down in the pits.
Yes, I've got Mark Werrell here again with the car 447 in the pits, and Kate Yeats is about to get in, I think, Mark?
Yeah, Kate's just getting in now. Tom Mallett's just finished his stint and started to bring the car back up through the order. We lost a chunk of time overnight, which it was a mixture of issues. Me putting it into the gravel at Abbey probably being the worst of those. I don't know whether it was a rookie error from me. There was a car upside down in the gravel trap at Club Corner, so I looked at that. You still got plenty of time to think about everything before you get to Abbey, and I got to Abbey, and I don't know whether I wasn't concentrating or whether, talking to the driver that was upside down, she said the car just snapped away, whether somebody had put something down on the track. So I ended up in the gravel, lost the time in the gravel, 3-lap tow back. We then put Dan Gibson in the car, but we refueled in the garage, so they gave us a 3-minute stop go for that. But looking at the state of some of the cars out there, we're still going, and we're still having fun, and hopefully we can get a finish. That's what it's all about, you know. I just want some signatures on my race licence. The marshals, I've got to say, thank you so much. They are doing a fantastic job. They've had plenty to deal with over the last 18 hours, so no, thanks to all of them, and we'll see what happens. I'll be in after Kate, so about 2 hours time.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Mark, for giving us that update on car 447. That's a GMD Motorsport run car.
One car has had an off up at Beckett. In fact, we've got a couple of cars off up there. 386 car is one of them, the Young and Dumb car, doing themselves a disservice with that name choice, I think. And there's somebody else, one car facing backwards. That's not the car I was referring to. Number 375 goes for a spin. That's Performance Preparation. They've had a spin up there as well, so it's still very slippery up there on the run through the Beckett's complex. I'll be heading up there a little later on to keep an eye on what's going on at some finish with my shift here in the main box at Woodcote. Thanks again to Alpha Live for their pictures here. Nine and 3/4 hours to go here at Silverstone. The Viking car about to be lapped by race leader Patrick Watts in the Circuits Pro machine. Very busy again on the run down towards Club Corner, Club Complex, which brings them round onto the Grand Prix pit straight over on the other side of the circuit to where I am. With a spinner, that is, who's that facing the wrong way? It's the number 431 car. Mini racer racing legend Graham Churchill is part of the crew in that one, along with Ron and Piers Johnson, the ex-GT Cup racers. He's raced the BMW Z4. 431 car has rejoined. That's the Meltune Motorsports car. So it's still very greasy out there, as can clearly be seen by the number of spinners we've had this morning as the daylight broke. There's another one going round, number 469. I think that's Ali Topley, indeed it is, in number 18, in number 469 in 18th place, sorry. Crewing that car along with fellow ex-short oval men Aaron Cook and Ollie Fowler. Used to race together in the MASCAR formula, miniature American stock car auto racing on the quarter miles. One of the graduates in their junior formula, also a circuit racer now, Fiesta Junior racer Ollie Turner, currently leading that championship. Car 313 under fire. That is the Fort Glen Whiskey sponsored car. The Superleggera team car has just got past them. And also going around the outside, I think it's the Pink Tiger car. No, that's not, it's the number 383. 383 being the Rusty Nail car, I think.
I've got Morgan Jones, just got out of car 390. Morgan, can you give us an idea of the conditions out there at the moment?
Yeah, it's quite tricky. Very, very greasy all around the circuit. There's a dry line starting to appear, but yeah, it's still quite tricky out there at the moment. But good fun, enjoyed it.
Good, and who's just got into the car replacing you?
So Alex Sedgwick's just got in the car replacing me. He's probably our quickest driver, so hopefully he can make up what damage I've done. So.
What damage was that?
Just a mirror getting knocked off, and hopefully he can overcome that, and hopefully no one lunges him, and we'll be all right.
I think I saw the team working on that mirror, so hopefully that'll get sorted.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully we can put it back on in the next pit stop. But
all right, thank you very much, and good to speak to you. Car 390, Morgan.
Bad news for Mark Worrell and his team. Kate Yates is in the gravel. I think that's up at Beckett's on her outlap. Looking to confirm whether that is yes. That's just past the Beckett's commentary box, unfortunately. The number 447 is in the gravel there on the inside of the circuit. We saw a couple of cars go in there last night, so Kate Yates has gone sideways into the gravel. Marshall's running to help. Is that going to bring out the safety car, I wonder? Car 483, which has already just been in for one stop-go penalty, and has now got another one, Team Crossacre, for a WHOTAG infringement. The WHOTAGs, of course, is the little system that tells us who is in the car at what time. They're scanned as each driver leaves the pits. Well, Kate Yates, a relative newcomer to racing, in the gravel at Beckett's in the bright green number 447, one of the GMP Developments cars. And the JCB coming into recover that machine. That will be a 3-lap penalty for assistance from the recovery team for car number 447. Everyone running in about 60th place, I think. Still Watts with the lead, has increased it to 2 minutes 26 now over Paul Phipps. Tony Hutchings in third place has got the gap down to just under 3.8 seconds now to Phipps ahead of him. So we could see a battle renewed for second place between Tolbar and Old Hat Motorsport. Eastgate still fourth and on the lead lap, 37 seconds near enough down on the second and third place cars. Sky is definitely lightning. Whether the cloud's going to start to burn off, I'm not too sure. As Kate Yates is towed in behind the barriers in car 447. There goes Old Hat Motorsport over the line. 4.3 seconds now the gap ahead to Tolbar Racing. Drinkwater in 4-3 skates. Citroen are still 5th with Chris Nyland. Team Merlin are up to 6th. That's impressive from Alice Hughes, the former Mighty Minis champion. Simon Walker-Hansel from Mac Attack Racing in 7th. Martin Short for Roll Centre is 8th.
Hold it.
Got one driver in the pits on our live stream pictures holding up a board saying, "Sponsor me." Please would be nice, yes. I think they're listening into us down there. Can't see who that team is, unfortunately, at the moment. In the pits is the 431 car. I just saw them have a spin, so maybe they had a puncture. Graham Churchill Plant Limited is the name on the side. Graham Churchill, historic mini racing specialist. We've got a car off on the exit of Cops. The JCB is obscuring my view of it at the moment as they recover it. I think it's the DHD car. Yes, it is the DHD car. Dirty Half Dozen. That's in the gravel on the exit of Cops. It's all the action so far seems to have been up at Cops, doesn't it, on the outside there. So all the incidents have been happening. Into the pits comes the 438 AASP car. Just over 9.5 hours still to go. Timekeepers are on the ball. Cars 447 and 330. 3-lap penalty for being assisted out of the gravel. In the past, I think nearly everyone has had one of those penalties. Certainly in the first Rockingham race last year, I think everybody had to be plucked out of the gravel at some point, including the race winner. Somebody very sideways through Stowe Corner there. And the 366 car goes off. That's up at Beckett's car 366, which is the Welch Motorsports car, entered by Dan Welch, of formerly of BTCC fame, but not driving it this year. Duncan, you there? from teams taking advantage of the facilities they prepared in their pit garages. Duncan, are you there?
Yes, I've got Simon Harrison, who's just woken up and just done brushed his teeth. Car 385, that's the lead car at the moment. Simon, you're going to be getting in about 25 minutes or so. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Managed to get a little bit of sleep. Quite glad to see it's actually still greasy. I think we're doing quite well in the damp conditions. I think in the dry conditions, I think other people have got more pace. So I think this is good for this. So long may the damp reign. But yeah, keen to get back in, and I think it can be tidy, quick, consistent. I think that's what we need. But you know, over the moon to be where we are, and quite unexpected. And you know, my goodness, this is so exciting.
And Patrick's in there at the moment. He's doing a good job for you. So the seat will be nice and warm. I think all the tyres are being changed as well. Fresh load of fuel as well. So you'll be all set to go for the morning.
Yeah, too right. I think 2 hours, 20 minutes or something, however long the stints are. It's been quite difficult to know what to do with the safety cars. It's a little bit of a luck of the draw sometimes with the safety cars, and I'm sure there'll be some more. But yeah, I think this has been amazing how this has run with 100 cars. It's, you know, it had the potential to be carnage and be really quite a difficult race, but I think it's a fantastic to all the marshals, to the organisers, to all the other drivers that, you know, it's going well on such an incredibly large scale. I think it's really impressive.
Well, that's good to hear from a driver such as yourself. So we'll catch you when you probably come out of your stint in a few hours' time, and we'll try and get Patrick when he comes back in.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Simon Harrison. That's the lead car, car 385.
It's good to hear from Simon. Spent a couple of years in the BTCC with Peugeot. Won his teammates Patrick Watts. Won the production class, the B class, in 2001 with a 306. Also the former national saloon car champion back in the late 90s.
I remember Simon Harrison starting his racing career, Dave, in Formula First back in the early days. Do you remember Formula First?
I do remember Formula First, yes.
One of the very few single-seater racing cars I ever got to drive one, and was odd but not odd in that it had a left-hand gear change at a time when all other single-seater race cars had a right-hand gear change. So if you were used to driving a road car, it was actually very user-friendly, which of course part of the reason that John Webb put it on that side in the first place. Yeah, Simon Harrison, one of a large number of drivers that had their first taste of racing in Formula First, and then went on. And to be honest, having known him then, I'm amazed but very pleased that he's still got his enthusiasm intact. And as I say, he and Patrick Watts make a great team, and they've been ably assisted over the course of the weekend by the efforts of Tim Hartland as well. And they've had a great race thus far. Certainly weren't one of the cars to watch at the beginning of the race, but they've been quick on the track, and they've been quick on their pit stops as well. That's where they've really made up the ground. They're getting the fuel into the car very rapidly indeed, and that is a place where you can make up a lot of time on the rest of the field if you can get your pit stops working well.
Yes, mentioning Formula First, a few luminaries started out in that. Robbie Kerr, I think, was one. Richard Dunwoody, the famous jockey, raced in them as well, and a certain fellow commentator, I believe, called Ben Edwards.
Ben Edwards did. Tommy Erdos. There's Chris Goodwin made his name in Formula First racing, and so an awful lot. Meanwhile,
we've got a couple of cars off. That's at Beckett's.
Right, and both of them managing to rejoin again.
443 is one. That was the Brook Speed car.
Was your quasi-Gulf livery car, wasn't it?
Yes, it is similar to Gulf livery, and it's bronze instead of orange, and the other was a 341, the Majestic car. That's the John Player Special lookalike. Rented by the Caterham racers. They've got going again though, fortunately. No safety car required.
No, I mean, one advantage of a car that doesn't actually go very fast is that you have to be fairly beyond the limit in order to get into a gravel bed. So but I think there's been lots and lots of little incidents. There were points during the night where I would suddenly notice a driver would have lose 10 seconds on a single lap, and then next lap round he was doing a perfectly good kind of lap time, and you sort of think, yeah, so there was probably something that happened out there in the darkness that everybody missed, but as I say, you could only see it if you were really paying close attention to lap times. Another one happening down there at Stowe on that lap, Dave.
Yes, that's our second place car. That was Paul Phipps in the toll bar car. Treble 3 has had a spin, and the orange motorsport car number 449 has had a spin up at Beckett's as well. So that side of the circuit seems to be greasier, because that's where all the spins are happening at the moment, particularly at Beckett's.
Just wonder, yes, if there is something along those lines where, having just been out, you were trying to talk the sky into getting a little bit less grey. The temperatures are still low, but I think what's happening is that the rate of drying around the track is not quite uniform, so that there are some areas of the track that are drying more quickly, so people getting their confidence up and thinking, oh, I can go a little bit quicker here, and then you get to the next corner and find that actually that doesn't work to go more quickly at that next corner. And so again, good sensitive driving skills are required, and the ability to get a car out of trouble when it's going into trouble as well, because inevitably when you're pushing on to the limit of adhesion, then you're going to go over it a bit, and then you need to know what to do to get the car back again.
So that means that almost certainly we're going to have a change to second place, because Paul Phipps had that spin. That's going to let the old Hats Motorsport car up into second. Somebody's off at Luffield on the outside there. It's the 357 car that's gone off up there. It's the SRR Motorsports car. Now it looks like some damage to the left front, so has it lost or broken a wheel perhaps? It's on the edge of the circuit there, so that might need a safety car. Stuck there on the outside edge of Luffield. Marshall's going to check if everything's okay. Stop-go penalty for car 374, the Midway Motorsport car, for overtaking under yellow flags. Just keeping an eye on this 357 car on the outside of Luffield. Well, it's right on the edge of the track, 2 wheels on, 2 wheels off. Or maybe only 1 wheel. It might have lost a wheel, actually, looking at the angle it's at.
Yes, what again a feature that we've had is that it does take a little while to get one of the JCB rescue units to the scene of some of these incidents. So they kind of leave the driver there to stew whilst he's getting the car sorted, and then if he doesn't get the car sorted, then eventually the rescue unit turns up. It's like having to phone to the AA, and you sit there and wait, and eventually they turn up bright as anything and bright as Larry and say, hello, can we help? And yes, away we go. 3 marshals in attendance there, and they're not well, they're going to give it a go. They're going to wait for a gap in the traffic and then give it a go to push.
They've pushed him out of the gravel there. No safety car required. The 357 car is going again. May get a penalty for outside assistance there. Thank you, Marshall, says the live stream graphics. They're certainly on the ball, these live stream directors at Alpha Live, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got some nice little touches in there as well. So they've kept the live stream going all through the night. I mean, the pictures have always been there. I'm not quite sure there's all of it has always been handled by a real live cameraman. I think a lot of them were just cameras being left in static positions, and some choices made about which shot we were going to get. We did get a brief interlude of some in-car shots, but not very much. I think yes, it's always exciting to watch some in-car shots. Give you a good impression of what's going on from the driver's eye view. The yellow lights at Luffield are still flashing on and off. I think that's probably just to allow the marshals to get back to their post before they turn those off. The car itself, though, as you say, the car has been moved. The track is clear, but with marshals still walking around, as say, trying to get back to their post, then the yellow light's still flashing for that reason, I think.
Car 357 does indeed get a 3-lap penalty for being assisted back onto the circuit by the marshals there. Mentioning the live stream coverage, it's 9 AM. We will switch back to their regular commentary team. Oh, we've got another car in the gravel. That's the 371, the Edge Motorsport. It's gone over the edge somewhere. Now, where is that? The Rockingham car, I think, might have been involved there as well. That was going slowly. Trying to work out where that is. I think that might be up at Beckett's again, where Kate Yates went off a short time ago. Facing the wrong way, the 371 car in the gravel.
Or is it... no, I was going to say it's at Farm, but it's... no, I think you're right, it's at Beckett's.
So stuck facing the wrong way there, car number 371. Check who's driving that at the moment. Stephen Burles, the man in that car, currently running in 32nd place. Now, either Marshall's going to be able to recover that one, I'm not sure. I think we're going to need the JCB up there to get Stephen Burles out of the gravel there. Yes, I can see the JCB on the move in the background.
Yeah, I've been on 2 for the last 20 minutes.
No safety car boards though. I must say full credit's not just the marshalling team here at Silverstone, but to everybody. The recovery drivers, the medical staff, all the teams of officials down in the pits as well. Could not put on this race without them, not to mention of course all the teams and their mechanics. And all the other helpers, especially in the pit garages here today, making tea and bacon sandwiches and so on.
Yes, I think one aspect that has worked very well has been the communication between them as well, because we've had occasions where the safety car has been out, there's a situation that's been cleared, and almost instantly we've been able to bring the safety car back in again. So I think that's been very helpful, and is one of those things that you don't always think about. It's not just always about getting people in place, it's getting them to communicate with one another so everybody knows what each other is doing as well. So yes, has worked very well.
That's the JCB recovery handler just pulling the 371 car out of the gravel. That will get a 3-lap penalty as well for outside assistance. So it may have had some contact with the team Rockingham car number 448. That's slowed as well, time of the incident. The 371 car now heading behind the barriers. Same place as Kate Yates in the 447 car was towed in a short time ago. Not too much activity in the pit lane at the moment. The performance preparation car is in.
Is that your Beckett's box in the background of the shot there?
It was.
Yes.
I'll be heading up there in about just under an hour's time, I think.
Righty-ho.
Now that we can see up at Beckett's.
Yes,
wouldn't have been able to last night in the darkness.
I think it might be quite interesting to see how much detritus there is scattered around bits of bumper and bodywork and all sorts. You can probably build yourself a bit of an entire Citroen C1 on your way up there with the bits and bobs that you might find around the way.
I remember when a certain Jason Plato made his debut season with Renault in touring cars. While he was away testing the winter at the end of that year, as a prank, the mechanics had kept all the bits of Renault Laguna he'd damaged that year, built a complete car out of them, and then crate it into his garden while he was away. Luckily, Jason saw the funny side of it.
Absolutely. Very good sense of humour most of the time. Yes, we'll look forward to being able to resume normal service when we're not also being streamed by Alpha Live. Not quite sure if that means the commentary changes for the better or the worse, but
well, we've got Alex Goldsmith, Scott Woodwiss and Dan Blake are the commentary team on the live stream, among others. They'll be taking over at 9 AM. And thanks to those of you who have been listening to the Silverstone radio commentary via Alpha Live's pictures overnight. Duncan, you have news?
Well, I was talking about the radio commentary, 87.7 FM. I heard that a lot of the drivers are listening to it as well in the cars. I didn't think about that because, of course, they've all got radios, and a lot of them are tuned into 87.7. So they're actually mostly the drivers listening to us to find out what's going on around the track.
I hope we're not putting anybody off. But yes, thanks to any teams who are listening to us in their cars at the moment. Hope that I'm not boring you too much. I'm sure Paul isn't. He got the graveyard shift. It's immeasurable thanks to Paul for taking us through the overnight coverage.
That's all right.
Helping our drivers to stay awake and alert.
Well, there was an awful lot of safety car running, and I shouldn't really say so, but glad that now we're into daylight hours. And to be fair, obviously racing is safer in the daytime, so perhaps less need to bring the safety car out when the daylight is there. But for the most part, I mean, considering the amount of work that the marshals have had to do, they've done it under very stressful conditions, and we've limited the safety car time reasonably well. We'll do a quick sum here and add up how much time we've had altogether. I think it's just over the 3-hour mark, but just need 2 hands to do this. Put that there, do that, and then do that, and it will tell us total time behind the safety car in the race has been 4 hours and 8 minutes.
That's what an Excel spreadsheet can do for you.
Absolutely, you can do anything with Excel, do you know that?
Yes.
I'm right at the top end of the pit lane, so hopefully it won't cut out. I'm just stood with Ryan Savage. He's about to get into car 423. Your car's been wheeled out of the pit garage. What happened there?
We had an issue the whole race with the steering wheel going up and down and up and down. We decided to finally fix it, and the team fixed it quickly, so back out there and hopefully gain some more places.
Is it a gaffer tape fix?
No, they did a proper job, so that's why it took a bit of time, but hopefully it doesn't break again, and we'll be able to improve the lap times.
That's good. And who wrote "Don't hit me" on the back of your car?
Yeah, that was me after the first stint and start of the race. We had a bit of contact which ripped the bumper off, unfortunately, put us down in 90th place. So I thought, warn people off.
Oh yes, that's just come back to me now. The checkered past car we saw going around, was that the one that had the tailgate up in the air?
It's one or two in the early stages, but
Did you have the tailgate up in the air?
No.
No, different car, I think.
Oh no, that was the Cockhills, wasn't it? Sorry.
But anyway, Ryan, they're nearly finished fueling, so we'll let you get ready to get into the car, and good luck with your stint.
Thank you very much. I'll be listening on the radio.
There we go.
Thank you very
Another
much.
driver listening on the radio. That's great. That was car 423.
bit of a thought of shutting the stable door after the horse has bolted, writing "Don't hit me" after you've already been hit up the back, but never mind. The thought was right, it was just the timing that wasn't quite right.
Somebody going very slowly there through Luffield. Who's that? I think that's the eSports car, number 306. Their number, eSports Plus Stars. That's coming into the pits.
Yes, that's a car that's had a bit of a disappointing race of it overall. They're now into the top 50, the 47th overall. Richard Roberts, aka Darren Cox, at the wheel of the car at the moment. But as you say, bring the car into the pits, and that may well be for a driver change and let somebody else have a go for a while.
Unfortunately for the team of car 464, they're back in the pits. They had a broken wishbone after a bit of an incident about half an hour ago, and came to the pits. They seemed to fix it. Saw a chap running around with a very bent looking wishbone. They've changed that, but now that car back into the pit garage, and they're looking at the right rear rather than the right front, so perhaps there's still a bit more residual damage that they didn't notice upon first inspection. So that's car 464 back in the pit garage.
Next thing to look out for, Duncan, is probably going to be David Drinkwater coming into the pits. Not directly, but within the next 15 minutes or so, I would think, by about 8:30 or so. He will be the next of that leading group to make a scheduled pit stop.
I think Patrick Watts might be coming in a few minutes, so I'm going to make my way down that end as well.
Okay, are they both at the same end?
I'm not quite rightly sure.
Right,
I have
okay.
a feeling that the David Drinkwater car is going to be at one end of the pit lane and Patrick's at the other.
Right, okay. By my reckoning, Drinkwater will be in before Patrick Watts will be. So based on the length of the stints that they've done, as I say, I would expect Drinkwater to be in before Watts. So if that helps you in the navigation of the pit lane, then so be it.
I'll just sit right in the middle underneath the Silverstone gantry. Then I can run either way.
That's what I was doing during the support races yesterday. Just positioning myself in the centre of the pit lane and then ready to sprint in either direction when something happened.
You see, I'm a great believer in thinking ahead, you see, and then committing yourself to one end or the other. Can't possibly go wrong.
Not sure what to say to that.
Change of position on the track as the car of Chris Nyland moves ahead of Paul Phipps. And that is a change of position on the track, so that's 4th place now for Chris Nyland. Had a good stint earlier in the race, and that car with more fuel aboard, in fact, than Paul Phipps's car has got. The 333 toll bar car still to share the driving around a little bit. Have you still got your list of who started the cars to hand?
Yes, I have.
Because who started in the toll bar car?
In the toll bar car, it was Alex Day.
It was Alex. So certainly the beginning of the race was pretty much dominated by Alex Day and Rob Austin. As far as I know, we've not yet had Robert Day drive the car at all. So now it's Sunday, maybe it's Robert's day. That car has got 2 very quick drivers, but perhaps the other's not quite as quick. And the smaller teams with fewer drivers seem to be able to get the best out of the few drivers. Chris Nyland, Adam Burgess, Darren Beckley. Just the 3 of them sharing the Citroen Racing car, able to just go through their drivers one each at a time, get the maximum amount of fuel out of each stint, and when it runs out of fuel, bring it into the pits, put more in, put a different driver in, and away you go.
Somebody going off on the inside of Luffield there on the grass. I think that might be number 383, Rusty Nail. Yes, it is. They've rejoined. Didn't hit anything.
The 313 Glen Whiskey car is in, having a refuel. I'd love to say that they were filling it up with whiskey. That would be quite hilarious, but no, they're getting the second drum of petrol in there. Driver ready to get in. That's 313, the Glen Whiskey sponsored car, not being filled with whiskey.
Well, if they were filling it with whiskey, it'd be a NASCAR, surely. They ran moonshine. Now the
Big 3 cars off again, taking to the grass. That'll look more like a rallycross car by the time it gets back home again. Straight on at the exit of Brooklands, across the grass, then taken to the inside, the grass on the inside of Luffield, and finally deciding to make that the shortcut into the pit lane. So that's the 443 car into the pits.
coming up towards the 9 hours to go mark. There's the 450 car in our pictures, sponsored by Team Green Power, run by Amigo Motorsport. That's the Norwegian car, isn't it? With Alexander Sherpen effectively as team captain. Car should have been handled by Rob Gaffney, the boss of Amigo Motorsport. He's busy elsewhere. There's the Area Motorsport car. The whole of that the one side of that car is held together by silver tape after its rollover early in the race. Great shame, because it was leading at the time.
Yes, one of two cars who's exited whilst leading. And
What's happened here? That's on the Hanger Straight, I think.
3 wheels on his wagon.
Yeah, 3 tyres on his wagon. I think we've got a car running on the rim. It's pulling. Oh no, there's the tyre outpacing the car down the grass. Is that the tyre or the whole wheel that's come off? I think it is the wheel. And the car's stopped right under the bridge. I can't quite see the number. Who is that? Let's see if we can pick it up on our other bank of cameras.
Two cameras that we have, one pointing in each direction from the Hanger Straight bridge.
Yeah, they are mounted on that bridge that the car is under.
If the car is under, then that is the ultimate blind spot, isn't it?
If it is on the Hanger Straight, I think it's stopped under the bridge up there.
Pretty sure that is the Hanger Straight, yes, the grandstand in the background overlooking the village complex.
But the car stopped there, having lost looks like the left front wheel. I can't quite, because of the shadow of the bridge, rather frustratingly, I can't see the number on that car.
Yes, it's exactly at the place where the motorcycles always stop when they want to get their wet weather gear in on the motorway, isn't it? They find
I think, actually, looking at the colour scheme as it comes towards that, I think that might be the old hat car that was in 3rd place.
Ooh.
Well, let's look for that, see if it's gone. I could be wrong. Let's see if it's gone missing as they come round.
Yes, we get
no, there's the old hat car coming into Luffield now, so it's not them.
Yes, we get no sector times on the timing here for the Citroen C1 Challenge. So with so many cars, we have to make do with just one time per lap, which means it's much more difficult to work out who things are when they're halfway around. And the safety car is being deployed now, Dave,
not surprisingly,
to retrieve that car with just 3 wheels. And there's being a front-wheel drive car as well, there's no way he can get any traction with just one wheel spinning uselessly, and the other one not moving because of the differential.
So I imagine we'll have David Drinkwater and Patrick Watts in it in the next couple of minutes or so then with this safety car.
Just trying to see who that was. We think it might be the 450 car, which is the Amigo Motorsport car that's lost the wheel there.
Yes, the Norwegian one that you were talking about just a moment ago.
Yeah.
So yes, this is the big question then, the conundrum. I think we'll get both Drinkwater and Watts in, having seen the safety car being deployed. Depends a little bit where they are on the circuit. Patrick Watts has only just started his lap. He's on the Hanger Straight at the moment, and the car of David Drinkwater is ahead of him on the circuit, but not that much. So Drinkwater has to blink first, as it were. He'll have the option to come in first. But with the safety car already out, I think it might well benefit him to come in because he's ahead of the safety car queue.
I'll have to split myself in two, Paul.
We are on the Wellington Straight.
Yes, that is the Wellington Straight, not the Hanger Straight. We've got our straights mixed up there. Apologies there.
Yes, some of the camera angles that Alpha Live are using are completely unfamiliar to me. So I'm seeing the circuit that I'm familiar with, but from angles that I'm not familiar with, which has caught me out on a number of occasions. But yes, we are talking Wellington Straight coming out of Aintree, and the driver staying aboard. And waiting then for David Drinkwater, who's going to be first on the scene, to see if he is amongst those diving into the pits.
Martin Short there trying to overtake in the pit lane entrance. I'm not quite sure if that's allowed.
I think Martin is one of those drivers who believes in maximising things, and you want to get as fast down the pit lane as you can, and only hit the 40 km/h speed limit when you get 40 km/h when you get to the board, which is actually quite a long way down the pit lane. So there's an opportunity to gain seconds, or rather not lose them, by slowing down in the pit lane before you get to the speed limit board. Martin Short has done a storming race up till now, I have to say. Kept out of the limelight in the early stages, most un-Martin-like, but now the race is into its second half. We're seeing the roll centre car slowly creep up the order board, now in 8th place as Martin chooses to come in and make what will be the 7th pit stop for his car. And how far back is he? Yes, only 2 laps off the lead lap. And in has come Patrick Watts. David Drinkwater stayed out. No, David Drinkwater hasn't come round yet. Got that wrong. So David Drinkwater has probably got himself caught behind the safety car rather than just in front of the safety car. That's what's happened. So he's not been able to come in. So a bit of good luck there for Patrick Watts, and into the pits whilst everybody is travelling at a slow pace, not quite as slow as you would get if you were travelling to a particular speed limit on the circuit, but nevertheless at a slower pace dictated by the safety car, who will be leading them down the Wellington Straight now. And in that queue, not far behind the safety car, I reckon is going to be the Eastgate Automotive Racing car of David Drinkwater. And will it be worth him peeling off? Even though he's in the safety car queue, he's near the front of the safety car queue. So once the safety car withdraws, then he'll be in a position to get to the front fairly quickly and perhaps make some good lap times. But again, it's never clear exactly what the best policy to do is behind a safety car.
I'm down with the leader. Patrick is busy. He'll be strapping Simon into the car, so I won't grab him yet because they're going to be absolutely flat out with this pit stop. They're getting the fuel in now. All 4 new tyres are ready, so we'll let them get on with their pit stop, and then we'll hopefully come back with Patrick Watts in just a couple of moments.
Yes, that will be good. Certainly when I spoke to him earlier in the week, he gave me the impression that he was I would say not taking it seriously, because Patrick always takes motor racing seriously, but he was here to enjoy himself rather than necessarily do anything particularly serious, and he's certainly going to be enjoying the fact that they're leading the motor race, although I bet he says there's a long way to go. But Simon Harrison then due to take the wheel from Patrick, and David Drinkwater in the 318 I think is going to stay out there and try and gain track position by staying out whilst Patrick is in. I'm glad you didn't take my advice and go and see David Drinkwater, because I reckon that David was lower on fuel than Patrick was. Scanning the cars coming past me at a nice slow speed. And haven't yet been able to see the car of David Drinkwater. And it surprises me because you see about 50 cars go past, and so he must have been amongst that lot, and then you realise there's still another 50 cars to come. Car is coming into the pits.
Yes, he is coming. Just spotted him.
So yes, he just was biding his time, and as I say, I suspect that he was not quite caught at the ideal opportune moment with the safety car. So he's in the pits now. Patrick Watts is still there, I think, Duncan, isn't he? So you've got both first and second place cars in the pits at the same time.
Yes, indeed. David is about halfway up the pits, and he's just pulled into his pit box. And the it's Simon Harrison now. The doors are closing on that car. They're just changing the last rear tyre, and then they'll be away. So we'll expect a very quick getaway from this car. Simon at the wheel now.
They're going to have to be quick in order to get to the pit lane exit before it closes. They're still there, I assume.
Patrick, DRS stopped working.
I wish.
How's it going? You're in the lead. You've made a good move coming in during the safety car there, and I think this may pay off. David Drinkwater in Eastgate Automotive has just come in as well, so they've just started their pit stop.
Yep. Let's hope it's a short pit stop and we're out just at the end of it. No, I mean, it's great out there. I'll tell you what, these guys out there are such polite drivers. You know, they fight hard, but when someone makes a mistake, you get given room. No one's touched me. I've touched a few, but it's not anybody's fault, racing little brushes. But no one's been aggressive out there.